I'm Dustin Trev. This is my persuasive speech. This is my audience. I'd like to thank them for putting up with me. I'm going to do a speech on, I'd like to persuade Congress to invest a little more money into NASA. Because NASA, we're starting to fall behind as a nation in the manned space flight race. NASA's really, the budget has been cut so much that they can't afford any more space shuttle flights. Well, the space shuttle's been canceled, but they can't afford to continue with research into rockets. They can't afford really to do anything except for robotics and the rover missions. I've also forgot to add, passed out my PowerPoint. And within the space shuttle program, the U.S. has no way to send astronauts into orbit, let alone deep space. And we had a program called the Constellation Program. It was a rocket program that was going to, should have been ready 2015, but it was canceled. President Obama canceled the Constellation Program because cost overruns, budget cuts, and lack of technology. And so the U.S. is having to turn to former enemies such as Russia to ferry our astronauts into space or any cargo out to the International Space Station. What this is really doing is it's hurting the morale of the U.S., it's hurting the economy of the U.S., and it's hurting our future, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like all the technological spin-offs from NASA, that's being damaged too. Some of these technological advances are spin-offs, such as robotic arms. They're used in surgery. A lot of the robotic stuff is just, a lot of the medical stuff is also just taken off from NASA. So I think it's critical that we continue with NASA. But the budget cuts are just cutting in too deep. I think I missed a spot. So now what the U.S. is doing is they're turning to private companies to ferry people up, ferry cargo up there into the International Space Station. And we're paying Russia, I think, $63 million a seat to pay, to send our guys up. And NASA just struck a deal with Russia for, I think, what was it? Here, let me find that number. Bear with me. $753 million for 12 round-trip flights. It's a lot of money that could have gone into our economy, not Russia's. I'm going to talk about also some of these commercial companies that are NASA's working with. God, I'm sweating so much. It's hot. NASA continues to lead the way in research and exploration, especially with the rovers, but with the budget they got, they can't really get any further than that. That's all they can do. It's just using rovers and robots to do things that man would normally do. Now, my PowerPoint is a little messed up here, so I'll try and get it back in order. Let me go through some of these spin-offs some of these technological spin-offs that NASA's had. Proven benefits in health and medicine, transportation, public safety, energy, the information technology, industrial productivity. All these things help stimulate the economy, and they create jobs. Now these local companies, or these private companies that NASA's working with, they also create jobs. They also help stimulate the economy. But the technology that they use is something that NASA's already produced. So they're not making anything new that's going to help our economy or our future. What we need is just to put more money into NASA so we can get back on track with the Constellation program. A rocket and a capsule that can ferry people up into space, and we wouldn't have to pay Russia or anybody and rely on anybody to continue with it. As far as I know, the U.S. has been the leader in space exploration and research, and their budget is so small. It's in the billions, but the U.S. budget is in the trillions, and what NASA gets is less than 1%. When NASA was in their heyday, back in the 60s and 70s, they were up to 13% of what the U.S. budget was. And now they're less than half of 1%. So, to sum it all up, these commercial and private companies that NASA's working with, they help, but they're not going to get us, they're not going to keep us in the lead. Russia's catching up, China's catching up, and we just need to put some more money in back into our space program. And that's all I got to say. Oh, and I got some references I would like to add too. Charles Bolden, who's a NASA administrator. David Steeds he works for NASA. I can't recall what he did for him. He's the one that did all the research on the spin-off technologies. John Mills has a PhD in space. I don't know, whatever you learn from space. I'm not sure what degree that is. And Julie Mack, who is an author that she works for herself, I guess, but she's quite well known. And these guys can be found in like nasa.gov, about space, and Kalamazoo for Julie Mack. Anyways, sorry for the sweating, and thank you.